Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us for this community town hall. We appreciate you making the effort to be out here. I appreciate the UDC staff who are here, who also prepared tonight to present and share with you what we're doing. Every year, twice a year, we go around to our staff across the state, and we connect with them in person, and we share kind of what's going on from the executive office perspective. We get input from our staff, and these are really important visits that we have, where we move the organization along in a way that makes sense. We were sitting down at the last one this year with our staff back in November, and thought it would be a good idea to also do this with the community, to let you know what we're trying to accomplish in the Department of Corrections, get some input from all of you, and just to continue to move the organization along. We feel like every stakeholder is important, and you are an important stakeholder of the community. And we have the media here, and thank the media for being here as well. They're an important stakeholder. And those who are incarcerated are also an important stakeholder. So later this week, we'll be going down to the Gunnison, to Central Utah Correctional Facility, and then also to the Utah State Correctional Facility. And we'll be meeting with a select group of incarcerated individuals to kind of share what we're trying to accomplish here in the Utah Department of Corrections. And again, we just appreciate you making the effort to be here. We know it's a drive out here for some of you, but we're going to turn it over to Glenn to get us kicked off tonight. And I'll be back up later on for some answering questions. So.
Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We really appreciate it. As a new administration, we came in and wanted to do things different. And to do things different, we wanted to make sure that we had a set of values and a plan that we could all look at to help map the road forward. So one of the first things we needed to do as part of that rebrand was a new mission, vision, and values. Now, a lot of organizations will pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to a consultant to come up with a new mission, vision, and values for an organization. That's not what we wanted to do. We wanted it to be meaningful to everyone in our department, and something that they could look at, know that they contributed to, and that they could be proud of, knowing that they helped come up with this. So what we did is we set 6 listening sessions, and we went across the state. And prior to those listening sessions, we sent out an email encouraging all of our employees on Team UDC to think about why we do what we do. And then we all came together and we discussed that. And in each one of those groups, we asked them to split up into smaller groups and come up with what they thought the most important principles behind why we do what we do were. And it was really amazing as we went around to those different sites, and we really noticed that we were on the same page for the most part. We all wanted to accomplish the same thing. We were just saying it in different ways. So we took the data from all of these different listening sessions, and we brought it together, and we started to pull out the common themes. And the common themes really rose to the top very quickly. From that, a committee came together, and we started to work in to finalize and refine what we ultimately wanted to accomplish as a department. So our mission statement, we started off and we went through all these different ideas, and then it was brought up that, you know what, we don't need to have a sentence necessarily. We just need to have some thoughts about what we're doing. And we ended up landing on working together, transforming lives, and protecting communities. And it was just amazing, the response that we all had in that room when we saw that, and we just said, that's it right there. And one of the most important parts of that is working together. That's why it begins our mission statement. And that means not just the Department of Corrections doing it alone. That means all stakeholders within our community, the governor, the legislature, the department, our partners with CHS and BOPP, but also you, the community, and those of you that have loved ones within our facilities. We know that you are part of our mission, and that's why we start with working together, because that's all encompassing and it brings us all in. And when we do work together, we do 2 important things. We're able to transform lives, and then when we transform lives, we protect communities, because we successfully prepare individuals to come out and be successful, build that foundation, and then we all win when that happens. A vision statement is something that is really important in leading and guiding what we do as well. And on our vision statement, we came to the conclusion of we envision a safer Utah by providing opportunities for people to improve. Again, ties into what we're all about here. And then we also wanted to find out what our values are, or what ways are we going to practice in our daily lives and in our daily work to be able to achieve this mission and this vision. And we came up with a set of values. Again, these really rose to the top very quickly from all these different meetings that we went to. And it spells out SPARK, our values. And the message behind SPARK is that it begins with you. It sparks with you and then goes from there. But to break those down, our values are service, professionalism, accountability, respect, and knowledge. That helps us in our leadership plan. That helps us in our rehabilitation plan. That helps us in everything that we do on a daily basis, to look at those values and to know that those are the 5 things we need to be striving for to help us accomplish that mission. So we're really proud of the final product that we ended up coming with. And just know that as we talk about these missions and visions and values, that this came from the grassroots of the Department of Corrections. Everyone had an opportunity to have a say, and these were the themes that really stuck out from going around the state and finding out from our employees why we do what we do.
So we have our mission and we have our vision, but the bigger question is, how are we going to get there? What are the actions we will take as a department to move us toward achieving our mission and achieving our vision? And so from this conversation about what we want to accomplish, we needed to talk about the how, and that's our strategic plan and our strategic pillars. So we have 5 strategic pillars, one being staff investment, then safety, collaboration, innovation, and health and rehabilitation. And when we look at how these work together to drive us toward our mission and to our reentry philosophy, which is where we'll spend a lot of time talking tonight, you can see that each of these layer upon each other. So when we invest in staff, when we make sure they're aware of our mission and on board with what we're trying to do, that they're engaged and well-trained, when we provide safe environments for people to receive the treatment and services that they need to be successful after release, when we ensure that those facilities are safe and drug-free, when we provide that safety in the community for people to rehabilitate, when we collaborate with our community partners and with our allied agencies, our loved ones of the incarcerated, when we use innovation to make better decisions and fix the things that are broken in our system, and when we focus on health and rehabilitation of the people in our care, we know that that all drives to successful reentry for the incarcerated individuals in Utah. So we want to take just a minute to talk about each of these pillars and in a little bit more detail so that you understand how they feed into our strategic plan and ultimately how we use them to build our reentry philosophy. So the first is staff investment, and we chose that intentionally as the first because we know we can't achieve these big goals without the involvement of our staff and without our staff understanding that every single person in the agency has a role to play in the success of the people that we are serving. So this looks like improved communication, better training and development, a lot of focus on retention and strategic leadership development for our staff that are currently here. I want to invite Jared Garcia, our Deputy Executive Director, up to talk a little bit more about safety.
Good evening. Safety is really at the forefront of everything that we do in the Utah Department of Corrections. That includes a safe environment for our staff, for those who are incarcerated, those that are under our supervision, and for our communities. Within our facilities, we believe there has to be an environment where people can live in a place that is drug-free. That does contribute to violence within our facilities. So we have really prioritized our efforts to reduce drugs and opportunity for the drugs that enter our facility, and in hopes that we free up space where people can feel safe and confident in obtaining services and really changing and transforming their lives so they can re-enter our communities. We know that 80 to 90% of these individuals will be our neighbors someday, so it's important that when they re-enter society, they re-enter in in a state where they're sober, and they can actually find housing and a job and other opportunities and have meaningful relationships. It's critical. It's also critical for our staff to feel comfortable in coming forward with any concerns that they have, reporting safety concerns, and so we can take a proactive approach to keeping them safe, and in turn keeping those that are in our facilities safe as well. So that's really a big part of what we're trying to do. And then the other piece of that is we've bolstered our investigations unit, because when there is an incident that occurs, just like in our communities, if someone is a victim within our facilities, they deserve a thorough, complete, and professional investigation, and that's what our investigation unit is committed to doing. I'm going to turn the time over to Spencer Turley to talk about collaboration.
Good evening. So when it comes to collaboration, if you remember the first slide that Glenn talked about, the very first word in our mission statement is working together. And now our middle pillar is collaboration. And those two things obviously go hand in hand together. And without good, effective collaboration, there's no way that we as a department can be successful. There's no way that those that we supervise can be successful. And so we as a department are completely committed to collaborating with not only our internal partners, but our external partners. And one of those steps is inviting you here tonight, is that we are very interested in what the community has to say, the ideas that they bring forward, and how we can better work together. So as part of this, you'll notice the last thing up there is super hard to see, but it talks about expanded partnerships. One of the things that we as a Department of Corrections have had a mentality of for a long time is essentially, we got this. We're going to do this. And we've tried really hard to do a lot of things on our own without involving people that may have been willing to help us. And those walls have come down, we could say. That as a department, we are completely committed to working together with community stakeholders, with inmate families and loved ones, and with our own internal staff and everybody else that comes with it. And so just know that we are here, we're a listening ear, and that as we strive to build these relationships, we're also improving our internal policies to make sure that our policies support us working with other people, to make sure that they're not overly punitive. At the end of the day, we still run a correctional facility, and so there is a little bit of that to it, but we want to do everything that we can to not be overly punitive, because at the end of the day, that may not help many people. And so we want to work together. We want to change people's lives and do everything that we can to collaborate and make good things happen. So just know that that's the overall central direction that we're going as a department. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Ryan Day, our Director of Innovation and Technology.
Thank you, Spencer. Good evening. When it comes to innovation, I don't have all the answers in technology specifically. I don't have all the answers. And so as part of our efforts, we're really looking to learn from our staff, from our partners, from other departments, other states on how they're innovating and doing things in a different way. It was very interesting today. I had a call with one of our agents that had a great idea on using some technology to kind of help out with some scenarios that they were having. And it was a great idea. And I just want to encourage all of our staff to come forward with ideas that they might have to help us innovate. As we put our division together and as we bring in the technologists, we have a space that's very, very much needed for us to innovate. We're getting a lot of whiteboards and a lot of monitors and a lot of technology for us to kind of think through how are we going to solve this problem. Because we don't want to just add technology to solving something unless we actually understand what it is we're solving and helping to actually promote it and move forward the department in that way. So from an innovation perspective, we have a lot going on. We don't know everything. We just truly do love to hear from other people. So thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Becky. I'm one of the Deputy Executive Directors with the department. I'm going to invite Dr. Wisner as well. Some of you are probably aware that over the last couple of years, we've transitioned our healthcare services to the Department of Health and Human Services, which is now called Correctional Health Services. So we work very closely together to really address this pillar, which is strategic in the sense that it's called health and rehabilitation. We believe that public safety is achieved through good rehabilitative processes and better health outcomes. And so we're incredibly focused now on understanding an individual's needs and risks as we bring them into our system. So I'll talk a little bit about our what we've identified as kind of prior philosophies around reentry and when that was happening. And then as we walk forward, what you can expect to see for your loved ones and how we will be addressing each individual person's challenges and needs and for protective factors and rehabilitative efforts. And then, we'll have plenty of time for questions and answers at the end as well. So when we started asking the question how reentry was happening for an individual, we recognized very quickly that it was happening in a bit of a checklist at the end of a person's sentence. So we were really like completing tasks to get their driver's license in place, voc rehab. We were seeing a lot of cold handoffs that were happening between divisions throughout the department. We were seeing a lot of duplication of efforts throughout our individual's journey as they were going through that process and getting ready to reenter, often happening very close to the end of someone's stay. So as we started to ask the questions about what this should look like, I will say reentry is kind of a tagline nationally, and it's being talked about everywhere, but really doing it right and making sure that we are incredibly focused on achieving successful reentry, which means that people do not come back, is going to take some work for our department. So we've been looking at the reentry process and what we call our reentry philosophy for the future. We have a unique opportunity in Utah to deal with individuals long before they ever come behind the walls of our prison. They often start in probation and parole. We complete many assessments throughout their process, and we intend to use those assessments to better guide the individual person's needs as we develop their reentry plan from the day they begin with us rather than nearing the end. So we're doing that through collaborative processes with our adult probation and parole teams, our prison and reentry teams, and using that to really define where we house your loved ones, where we treat them, when we treat individual needs, and then really becoming more involved much more quickly in their process for reentry planning, so that we're giving them an opportunity to really have their individual protective factors addressed. So you may know and you may not know how many services are actually available to each individual, but getting them to that place and through that journey is really important. So education, case management, volunteer and religious services. We have a lot of job skills in services, being able to find wraparound services in the communities, helping them with anger management and cognitive behavioral therapy. So we do offer a tremendous amount of resources, but it's a big system. So we want to ensure that they're able to access that with the help and support of their case managers throughout that process. One of the other very important pieces, and I'll let Dr. Wisner talk just for a minute about the importance of our behavioral health and our healthcare services that are being provided in the prison and throughout our communities to be able to stabilize individuals.
Thank you. I did bring Amanda Alcama, our behavioral health director, so she can give me the wink if I'm on target here or not. But with this new philosophy, with this updated philosophy of reentry, it really allows corrections in the medical field and the behavioral health fields to overlap and really intersect earlier and have more proficient planning for the reentry process. Many of the individuals that will be reentering the community will be suffering from mental illness, and those services don't just happen. We have to get them to a point to where they can reenter successfully. And if they need additional help or resources in the community, that we're leveraging our partnerships, our expanded partnerships, to get them the care that they need as they reenter for a successful transition to the community. So this has been an ongoing reevaluation of the system in general, and something we're really looking forward to and have seen success so far. So thanks, Becky.
So how will we achieve this? Through successful reentry planning that includes us really understanding the needs for housing stability, barriers and challenges, employment and education, understanding individuals' risk factors, and the need for collaboration and long-term sustainability. And really, we have a lot of time tonight open to have some discussion with all of you about how we achieve that and how you see us better supporting your loved ones as they're working through the process. Perhaps they've come back several times. Perhaps this has been a part of the journey for a long time. So let's have some dialogue around what we could do better, what you see as barriers as you've brought your loved ones back into your homes and into our communities, and maybe where we need to take more considerations for more comprehensive reentry planning and how you think we can help. So at this point, that is just a brief overview of our philosophies. And now we will open the floor to all of you for some discussion and dialogue. I'll let Director Red come and direct that.
Before we get into that question and answer, I wish I could introduce all of our staff tonight, but I wanted Chief Honey to stand up. Just if you might stand up, Chief Honey is over prison operations. He's our chief there. Bart, do you want to stand up? Bart's the chief over reentry rehabilitation division. And then Alex, do you want to stand up? He's our chief over the adult probation and parole. So we just wanted you to know they're here. Also, we have with us the board, Brittany Karzan, if you want to introduce yourself. So if there's questions, that you have for the board tonight, Brittany's here to maybe answer some of those. We have Eric Hutchings over here, also legislative affairs. So thanks for being here. But anyway, I was in a meeting last week with the other state directors across the country. And one of the questions that was posed was, what was surprising when you came into your role? And I don't know if it was surprising because prior to coming here, I worked for a financial services firm, and there was more work than individuals to complete that work. We had some technology that needed updated. You're trying to work with other divisions, and there's a lot of relationship building that you have to do to get the work done. And it was very similar when I came here. We have some technology in the department that's a little outdated. We have policies and processes that were that have been happening for years and years. That the technology was kind of built around. And so when you try to start changing things in a system or improving things, not only do you have to update your policy and your practices, but you also have to update the technology, and it becomes very, very complex in large organizations. I think this is one of the challenges. Like we sit up here and we share what is aspirational tonight and what we believe we can accomplish over time, but it's not without effort, challenges. And I know many of you, I've spoken to many of you on the phone. I've taken your emails. I know it's not always perfect, and just know that we're trying. We have a very young workforce. I think over 60% have less than 2 years in our ranks now. So we have a large training component. So leadership training is a really critical part of what we're trying to accomplish now. I do want you to know that we have very great support from our governor. He was just out at the prison visiting with our staff and with those who are incarcerated. I was with him today. He's very impressed with the work that our incarcerated are doing in the SOLID program and the efforts that they are making to better their lives and better the lives of others. He was very impressed with it. And the legislature also is very supportive of us and has provided resources and funding and support. So we feel like we have a lot of things moving in the right direction. We know it's not without challenges, and you're an important stakeholder. So we wanted to open it up tonight and for you to ask any questions or share any concerns. We would want to limit that, obviously, and not speak about individuals or their names, but anything that you would want to share on how we can make improvements and work together to better the system. And don't all speak at once. Please.
Do you feel like, I don't have a lot of contact with Valley Behavioral Health, do you feel like you get good coordination with them as they do provide mental health services?
I think this is important that we do coordinate with our community partners. We do have, we have a former executive of Valley Behavioral Health on our team. So we have those relationships, and we can't do it alone. There's too much work to be done. So I think we do have good coordination with them, but we're just in the beginning of that right now. But do you want to add anything to that, Becky? Or
Well, I mean, always. But I would just say, I always like to add, I would just say, I think there are so many providers out in our communities that we haven't always had the opportunity to build relationships with. And part of that comes from distinctly understanding the needs of the individuals that are going to be coming back into the communities. We have incredible providers and some of the other community-based providers who do more integrated healthcare. Maybe somebody's more focused on substance abuse than mental health as primary. And so we're going to try to build those across the board. Having been with Valley in the past, I know as a community provider, it really does create complexity when the department is trying to do it on their own. And I think that will be the change you'll see, is that we're bringing everyone to the table.
Other questions or comments? Yes, Susan.
If you envision being able to expand that to the larger number of inmates that are at prison?
That is certainly our goal, and not only expand education, but job opportunities prior to even them releasing from prison. And we're setting some metrics in place to start tracking those things. I think that we're going to need to add more technology so that we can have a broader reach. We've done that recently in Antelope, where we're now teaching some classes over the tablet, which has expanded the reach. There are just limited resources. We want to potentially involve incarcerated individuals and helping teach other incarcerated individuals eventually. So we have many talented people who are incarcerated that we can utilize. So again, it's setting up those policies and the technology to work for us, but we have taken some steps and we're going to be tracking it. One of the things that and what we didn't talk about tonight, off of these pillars, we built our strategic plan, and which goes into more detail, and it's found on our website. You can go to the website and just Google UDC UDC strategic plan, and it will pull it up. But we have metrics that we're going to attach KPIs to those objectives in the strategic plan and start measuring those. And so that's part of what Ryan Day has come on board to do with us, is improve our business intelligence so that our staff are seeing what are we trying to accomplish, what are the goals, and then what are the measurements showing that we're either succeeding or we're not succeeding. But if you have ideas on how to increase our reach, by all means, please feel free to share them. Okay, we would love to hear them. So thank you. It's too big. I mean, I think they're averaging, that's right, 80 to 100 right now. So I don't know, Bart, do you want to come and talk about case management at all? What I would say, and then maybe if Bart wants to add anything, what I would say is they're large. And, we see this in adult probation and parole, they're not that large, but we're trying to figure out ways that we can get our line level correctional officers also involved in supporting case management and supporting the case managers. We feel like we have an untapped resource with our correctional officers. They're young. We have an opportunity right now to kind of mold them and help them become a contributor to case management. We're not sure exactly what that's going to look like, but that's what I think. Yeah, and I think the workforce that we're attracting, there are a lot of people that want to come out and do good and help other people, and we're finding that in people who are applying to the Department of Corrections. You'll always have the traditional individuals who want to come in and do law enforcement, but even those individuals, I was a law enforcement officer, but even Jared and I, when we were working at the Department of Public Safety, doing some work around homelessness, had some interest in helping individuals while keeping the community safe. I think that we have an untapped resource, even outside of the traditional law enforcement role, that we can recruit into the department over the years. And I think it's an exciting prospect. But yeah, I think it will be more interesting for our officers if they have a little bit of a role in the reentry process. Yes, it will create a kind of a better relationship. We also agree. I had an officer So I speak to each cadet class that comes in. I go spend an hour with them and share some of this information. But one of the young cadets, she asked me, "What are the best programs to reduce recidivism that you've seen?" And I was probably only here maybe 6 months at that point, so I have a lot to learn. I still have a lot to learn. But I said, I don't know what the programs are, but I know the interaction that you have as an officer can make all the difference for an individual. The way that you treat someone can make all the difference. And it goes both ways, right? Your loved ones, the way they treat our officers can go a long way in building a positive relationship. And that is a rehabilitative action in and of itself, is the way that we treat one another. And I think that will improve our success. Sure, of course. Other questions, comments, Susan?
So I know that the basic models of your reentry staff is now housed with AT&T. I haven't had an opportunity to experience this, but I'm hoping that that will make a difference in not having so many people sent back to prison for technical violations. Because my understanding is a lot of the people that are incarcerated now have had technical violations. It just seems like such a waste of everyone's time and money to keep sending people back when they could be better served by helping them in the community through providing services.
So the comment was that we've moved some of our reentry team out into the community with AP&P, which yes, we have done that. And that I think the comment was improving or reducing the number of individuals coming back on technical violations. And what I would say to that is, yeah, that is a focus of ours. I want to make clear to everyone that we will recommend prison to anyone that's a public safety threat. And that does happen at times, and we have to do that. But there are times where we also believe that we can find solutions in the community. What it might be a community correctional center, it might be a shorter stay in a jail, it might be getting someone into treatment, and just the relationship and letting these individuals who are paroling or on probation know that we are supporting them, and that if they're struggling, to please come to us and tell us you're struggling, so that we go tell your agent, go tell our case manager, so that we can help you overcome whatever challenges you face. But yeah, it is very expensive when people return to prison on technical violations. Well, I think you, again, going back to our mission statement, working together and collaborating, and this is something that we've made a strong focus of our administration, is making sure that the board, who's here tonight with us, and AP&P, prison operations, that we're all communicating. And I'll also add into that courts and lawmakers. And this is a really complex, the criminal justice system is very, very complex, and it's high stakes. It's people's lives. And so we are committed to doing our best to get everyone at the table to find the best solutions for your loved ones. Yeah, we have the region captain over the area that will review those cases before a recommendation is made to go back to prison. Do you want to add anything, Alex?
And that's the last thing we want to do is have a public safety risk. But they are being scrutinized, and warrants are being recalled when necessary, and other options are being explored to better help that individual.
So do you support the JRI concepts for more positive reinforcements? For example, short-term stays in jail for a few days instead of automatically sending someone back to prison.
and some of the recommendations they made through the Justice Reinvestment Initiative?
We do utilize the short jail stays as versus just automatically jumping back to prison. And Director Rudd mentioned the use of our community as a step back, but not a step all the way back, right? To try to help and encourage and modify behavior.
Yeah, and maybe evaluate whether there's something else they need that could improve that.
Yeah, we're looking closely at how can we tailor and have a more individualized approach to case management for people who are on probation or parole, and frankly, even incarcerated. That not everyone is the same, and even those who are assessed the same on an LSR and R have different phases that they go through, you know, in a year's period or in a 2-year period. So, you know, when we see someone struggling, we hope, and the message that I would send out to those who are on probation and parole, or please, if you're struggling, come and tell us. Don't run from us, or don't not show up. Come and tell us that you're struggling so that we can help you, because when you run and then we can't locate you, that's where that's where the likelihood goes up that someone would be, you know, returned back to prison if they're going into a fugitive status. So yeah, we
That what you're saying will be a reality.
we're going to work on it. I was just getting a presentation last week on the idea of a referee versus a coach, and how probation and parole agents, they're having some success around the country, moving to a coaching, more of a coaching philosophy than a referee, like a compliance focus. And so that is something that we're definitely looking at. And but I do want to make clear, like we will not, we will violate someone back to prison who's a recommended, who's a public safety threat. We don't want anyone getting hurt out in the community. But I think that we're going to make some progress in this area. I'm very optimistic for 2025.
And I'm with you, Pan, over IPP, Inmate Placement Program. And I know a lot of inmates, when they're sent to county jails, feel like they're being punished, even though typically they're well-behaved inmates. Are there methods to help them feel, I mean, they don't get any outdoor rec or outdoor time ever. They don't get to, oftentimes, very decent food. Sometimes the programming is not there, it's interrupted. Is there a way that you see forward helping them to feel like it's, and some they like it, but many feel like they're being punished, and it's, you know, they've done well, and then suddenly they're going somewhere where they're not getting the programming that they thought they were going to get?
So yeah. I mean, this is something that we do here, and that we're also thinking about. One thing that I would say is our sheriffs are more than willing and want to do, you know, provide the programming and the treatment, and they're really good partners for us, and they help us out a lot. I mean, we had a recent issue at one of the county jails, and we had to transfer inmates, and our sheriffs, the other sheriffs, just picked it up and housed them, and it happened in a day, and it was, so they're great partners. We do recognize, I mean, it would be like a big city versus a small town. I mean, sometimes people, you know, enjoy living in a smaller community, and some like living in a bigger area, and there are limited resources in smaller communities. But there are some really good programs that our sheriffs offer, and I think they're more than willing to continue to dialogue and find ways to you know, improve the conditions. The reality of it is the system that is set up requires us to move out of the prisons individuals who are at a certain, you know, risk level, and the medical levels have to be such. And so some of those individuals do get transferred at times when they don't want to. The reality of it is we just have limited capacity in our system, and so sometimes that happens. We really try to prioritize an individual's education and programming and the requirements that the board has for them. So where you might get a sex offense treatment in the prison, you may also get it at a county jail, and sometimes they just fit the the bill, so they go to the county jail where they may not necessarily want to be, but they're getting programs so we can get them to the board and get them to their hearing with all the requirements so they can have an opportunity to be released. So I think over the years, we will continue to work on this. We've talked about technology to help us with housing decisions, and we're looking at that and looking for some funding to do that. But having an algorithm that helps us, you think about all these individuals coming in every week with all the risks and needs, and everyone that we have housed, and people going out, and there's just so many factors, and we're trying to do that manually with spreadsheets, and there's software out there that can help us improve that process. So that's something that we're looking at, but nothing's on the horizon because we need to continue to look for funding. Yep.
So how do you determine who does go to the county jail and who doesn't?
You want to take that one? I'll let Chief Honey take it because he's more experienced in this area than me.
So first, we have to look at their security level. We want to make sure that they're the right security level. We want the more higher risk to stay in the prison system, inside the prison. And then we look at their medical level. We want to make sure that they are medically stable to go out to the county jail. And then we look at, are they currently enrolled in a program at the prison system? Are they in an education program? Are they working for UCI? We look at all those factors. And then the ones that aren't, we start looking for county jails to see if they can be placed. Does that answer your question?
You can ask the tough
Yeah,
questions.
ask me tough ones.
You can ask the tough questions.
It answers my question, but is that really happening?
I can guarantee you that happens because we review this process every week. So we have referrals that come in every week, and those criteria get met every time. Now, am I saying the system doesn't allow one person to slip through the crack that maybe was enrolled in, but the computer system glitched and didn't get it? Of course. We recognize that, and then we move them right back. We don't want to interrupt that. We speak about these offenders having a better rapport with their case managers. Well, if we keep moving them around all the time, they can't build that rapport. And so we're looking at ways of reducing movement, and that requires us to identify where they will be successful and move them there and just try to keep them there as long as we can. We've proposed that, but if you have a case manager that, is with an offender that up here in Salt Lake City and that offender moves down to Monticello, I can't really move a case manager around the state. It gets a little expensive and they don't want to leave their family too much. So yeah, I want to be practical.
I'm trying to just think of a way to ask this question. So I've called and spoke to case managers, and that's above my pay grade. So who's above their pay grade?
Oh, I'm over the inmate placement program. I've got lieutenants that supervise our case managers. I've got a captain that supervises those lieutenants, and I've got a deputy warden. He'll take your phone call 24/7 if you ever need him. So yeah, he really is awesome. So, but it should never be, that's what we're trying to do. Our staff are human sometimes, right? We're trying to educate them. We're trying to inform them that, hey, let's try to find the answer instead of just pawning it off. It's happened before. I've worked at the prison. I started out as an officer, and it has. I'll just pass this on to someone else. We're trying to educate our staff to just take on that problem, find the solution, and just help you out right there instead of just moving you around. So we're trying there. We're not perfect, but we are trying to get there.
I understand, and I appreciate this. I mean, I've been dealing with the prison for a long time because my loved one's incarcerated, and I've seen a huge change over the last couple of years, and I appreciate that. And I know it's not fast, and sometimes it takes a little more time than we want to wait, but I do appreciate you guys and your mission and everything else. It's just, I would like to see what I'd really like to see? I'd like to see the Board of Pardons on the same page as the Department of Corrections.
Well, and
I'd like to see that.
Brittany's awesome, by the way. Like, she's only been over there a few months, but the work that she's doing is making a huge difference. I just want you to know that we're so happy to have you over there.
Thank you. I'll give you my card after. It is week 13, so I don't know all the answers, but the board and Department of Corrections are truly sister agencies. I think they are closer in terms of those types of agencies than any others I've seen in government. And we are making strides every day to improve that relationship and to make sure that we're on the same page. One of the more recent changes that the board has made starting last April was our scheduling review process. And the goal of that is also to really help Department of Corrections forecast and plan for treatment so that we can help people make sure that they're in the right place at the right time so they can get the things completed that they need to before they have their board hearings. So I think you're going to see a lot more improvements there. And we really are moving to get together on those same pages. Some of it's technology and some of it is just, staff changes and people are new and we're working through those challenges, but we appreciate the opportunity to work with them.
Six. Yeah, we just opened up Atherton, which was number 6. Yes, that's correct. We have one in Utah County. The rest of them are in Salt Lake County. Oh, no, sorry. One in Weber. Yeah. One in Weber, one in Utah County, and the rest are in the Salt Lake County. What is the number we have in those now currently? Let's see. 600. It's between maybe 500 to 600 is what they will serve. And we're working, and by the way, that's another area we're looking very closely at our community correctional centers. Atherton, we're modeling it for behavioral health treatment right now. Each community correctional center has a little different focus, but we're going to make them safer as well. Jared talked about the safety in our prisons. That goes for our community correctional centers, and we're going to be working to make them more drug-free. We know we have some challenges there as well. And we added, how many canines did we add? 6 last year, or this year, I guess we added 6 canines. So we're doing more activity at our community correctional centers as well to reduce drug flow. And
Is there any kind of a system that works that way?
I don't know, Jared.
Yeah, we do have some that help out, like they take on job programs such as culinary and things
Right.
like that. So-
And some of them are lifers, so many of them get jobs that continue on. Is that correct?
I don't know about lifers inside the CCCs, but we do, we are seeking more opportunities, as Becky described earlier, with peer support opportunities as well. That's really an area that we're looking to expand
Right.
within, not only the prison, but also in the community corrections.
Question on.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Becky.
Molly's just asking
Oh.
when you're done.
Okay. So I know the prison was only built to house something like 3,000 inmates, and you're well above that now. How are your numbers moving at this point? Are they going up or down?
so we're at 3,800 at USCF. Yeah, so that's USCF is 3,800, and we're I don't know, I can look on the dashboard, but I think we have one general population unit that's not open yet. That's 364 beds. Then we have some capacity in some of the other areas of the prison. We probably have 500 to 600 beds at the prison still, something around there. We're not completely full. Things trended up in 2023, 2024. They trended down, actually. Our prison population decreased a little bit in 2024 and has remained fairly stable this year after that initial drop. So pretty good news this year.
So Molly is just asking, when will the case managers begin connecting with inmates as soon as they process in, rather than waiting months to connect, and start bringing ability to attend skills classes and other classes and not be idle for 6 months or a year like they are now?
I'm going to allow Chief Morrison to just talk about some of the work he's doing in the reentry rehabilitation, and then you can follow up.
So that's actually one of our quarterly initiatives starting in January, is to really just get specific at the point of intake so we can get the right assessments done, get the right recommendations for housing done, and then the right treatment recommendations done earlier in their incarceration. We have some backlog to do because we need to complete those that are closer to the end, but at the same time, try to improve that so that they're ready for release long time before their actual release date. So Molly's question was, really, when are we going to start meeting with them at intake? I will say around April of this year, the intake reentry team got real serious about conversations with returning people, not the new commits, but the people that were returning on a multiple parole violation, just to ask about what parole and all that. A large survey, and we're starting to really just dissect the information now, but there's a lot of interesting things we're discovering, and it's really allowing us to change our approach at intake and ask different questions, and then even at release to start planning different things that we realized we were missing before. So we're probably 6 or 7 months into Molly's question, but we'll start seeing outcomes a lot sooner.
I always like to talk about things that actually show that we're making progress. One of the unique things that we've been working on is something called peer support initiative. So in the state of Utah, we can certify individuals with a certification to be peer support. And for the first time ever, working in collaboration with our correctional health services team, we have now certified close to 30 individuals within our prison walls to begin adding the capacity that you were talking about. I will say in talking with those individuals, they are meeting with people now in Fremont, which is our intake facilities, and in our Dell facility when people do come in earlier in their process. We have another training and certification coming in mid-January, so we'll be seeing that number continue to expand. Those resources are adding unique capacity that we have never seen, where they're working directly with our security teams, sometimes even to de-escalate situations behind the walls with individuals with lived experience. It makes a huge difference. We are seeing great outcomes from that, and a reduction in some of that apprehension around coming into prison and maybe moving directly into the SOLID program or another program where they don't have to go into general population. So we're excited about that. It is still new. Our SOLID program, which is 384 beds approximately, is all peer-led. And then we are continuing to see the work that they're doing kind of trickle out throughout the population. So what we are hopeful of is that we are able to move the middle and continue to see people want to kind of move to this side of creating safety and having a safe environment. So.
So you have your different housing units. Is anything being done to help those people who modify from gangs, who are trying to better their lives within the system to be able to live as if they're in population, even though they can't be in population? Does that make sense?
Yes. So that is something we are absolutely diving into a little bit more. We want to make sure that those individuals that want to change their lives, specifically those that want to get out of a gang and get right back on the right path, that they have that opportunity to do so. So it is not as simple as just placing them somewhere, because as you know, when we move them and they modify, then we can potentially put them at risk. So when we talk about safety and security, that is always going to be in the forefront of our minds. We don't want to place them in a situation that's going to cause them harm. We actually want to place them in a situation that's going to be better for them, just like I talked about earlier. So as we talked about prison capacity a little bit, and that we're not absolutely full, as we get our staffing numbers up in the Utah Department of Corrections over the next year, we are looking to start to fill up our Bear 3 unit in a way that maybe looks a lot like Bear 2, like the SOLID program. And we think that that's an opportunity to maybe potentially move some of these safety level 4s into that unit and create a safe environment for them to change their lives.
Yeah, I was reading a program that they have in California that's very similar. I don't know if you guys have yet heard of that. That's very similar to where they've modified from the gangs, but they don't necessarily need to do the drug treatment or for the board or whatever, or they don't need the sex offender or whatever, but they want to live in population safely.
No, our whole goal is to incentivize and support people who want to change. And those who aren't quite ready, like, look, the door will be open when you're ready, but we have to kind of separate those populations as much as we can and allow people to progress and change. We want to reward and help people who want to change. And so I think Honey wants to come up here and make a comment, but I'd love to see what you're learning in California if you want to send it to us.
Well, and as Director Garcia was saying, we are working on what we can do inside of the prison, but in the meantime, we've actually started a program for our safety level 4s out in Uintah County. They've never been able to have drug treatment program. Uintah County Sheriff hired a therapist out there. And in fact, they're graduating the first group on Thursday. So they're actually going to be news out there, media. So they're graduating the first class that has gone through the entire drug treatment program, and they're going to be graduating them on Thursday. But not for safety level 4s. So yes, so Garfield is for general population, but these are for the offenders that were in our maximum security that couldn't live around anywhere. We were able to locate them, and they live like general population out in Uintah County, and they get the treatment that they need. Yeah. Also, we have our tattoo removal, our tattoo away program, where offenders can sign up, and we have a program where they will remove the tattoos off their hands and their face, the visible gang tattoos. If they want to get out of it, we want to help them remove that, because in order to get a job when they re-enter into society, that does make a difference. And so if people are committed, we want to be able to help them. So we have that program, and we just started it down in Gunnison as well. So we have a machine at both sites, and our goal is to just get as many people through as we can. We have a waiting list. It's not long, but we are getting it more and more out there. Some people are still hesitant, but we still want to show. I think they're hesitant of the process as well, but we still have, now that we're getting some of our incarcerated individuals through this program, they're seeing the results, and you're going to see that pick up a lot more.
We also have a community member that is interested in helping support this type of a program anonymously. So we're working with them as well.
We're aware of how much is being done. It could really mean a lot. And I'm not sure how you would do that.
We have an idea, actually.
Okay, good.
I don't want to say it out loud right now. We're getting the presentation ready that we have to get stakeholders
Oh,
on board.
wonderful. Okay.
But I will just tell you that we feel, when I say we feel support from the governor's office and the legislature, we're also feeling a lot of support from the community and even some in the philanthropic community. And we think there's an opportunity for all of us to come together to help your loved ones have the best chance for success coming out, which will result in a safer Utah for all.
From punishment to rehab.
We're moving that way, but it was interesting. I was with the 50 state directors. There's still a correct rehabilitation is one component of corrections. When you go and research correction, what is the purpose of corrections? There is a punitive component to it. There's an avoidance, like crime, additional crime avoidance. But yes, we are moving toward a re-entry rehabilitation focused system, while keeping in mind the need to keep the community safe and have that short term, but yes, we are trying to move that direction. We think it'll be good for public safety.
You're getting out there too as to the cost of incarceration for 1 year as opposed to the cost of rehabilitation, and they're out and working in the community.
Yes.
Seems like those numbers could be thrown around a lot.
Well, and when we release people who are prepared, they go and contribute to the tax base rather than take from the tax base. And so this is where a lot in our legislature are very interested in seeing success. So we've started tracking, I think I mentioned this in another meeting, but we've started tracking people who are leaving prison with a job. Right now, it's almost non-existent. It's very, very low. But we're going to start tracking it, and then we're going to set goals over the next 5 years to see that number go from maybe it's 2 a week or 2 a month to 5 a month to 10 a month, and just get people prepared to go out with a job. Well, not very many go there, actually. That is, sometimes they're used in lieu of going to jail or to prison. But we are talking, we're regularly communicating with the Other Side Academy, and they have some great programs and things that they're doing there. That doesn't fit for every person that's incarcerated. They have some pretty strict guidelines on who they are willing to take or not take, and it's a big commitment, but they have really, really great outcomes. They're very impressive in what they're doing. Anything else?
Do you know if any of the, and I don't know if any of the, if there's employers, like in some of the states, they offer incentives to employers to employ people coming out of the prisons and giving them jobs and whatever tax incentives.
Mhm.
Is there?
Those are available here. Yes, they're available here as well.
They're available. I just wondered.
Yeah, and we're in very close communication with the Salt Lake Chamber, and we've had meetings with other chambers. South Valley, the one out in the West Valley area is what's that chamber out there? Maybe you don't know. I thought maybe Brittany would know. But anyway, we are in communication with the chambers. They're very interested, and some trade organizations as well in the States. So that's right. And look, when it comes to, again, there's a lot of people interested, and we have some ideas on how we can pull everybody together. We just got to get it all ordered out and get everybody informed, and we think we can really make some movement.
Programs, correction.
So Utah has a very low incarceration rate. We're one of the lowest in the country. Our recidivism rates are fairly similar to the average across the country. So our technical violations are a little higher, and so that's one area that we're looking at. We're a little higher there. What else? But we're doing pretty well. Like we have a. I just can't, I got to just stop and say thanks to the staff that we have in the Department of Corrections. I can tell you, they have very important jobs, and they're doing great work. They're very willing, and we just really appreciate them. We need our staff, and we need to all support the community. Everyone needs to support them. I had an officer tell me the other day, we didn't know we could get recognition for our good work, or, we're really trying, and, credit to Glenn Mills and our communications team, Karen and Liam, others. We're really trying to tell the story of corrections. We're trying to get out there all of the good work that our staff are doing, because that's going to attract more people to the work. When they see what can be done, and when they have community support, when they have support from the policymakers, this brings people into the organization. And so, we just really appreciate our communications team for telling the story and all the support we're getting from everyone. I mean, I'll say it, UPAN, when you send something in to thank an officer for the good work, that goes a long ways with our officers and with our staff. And it creates incentive to do good work, because they're getting recognized for that good work. So, anything positive, I know there's some negative, and I know there's some challenges, and we're not perfect. And we have staff that make mistakes, and we have staff sometimes that don't do what they should. And we're committed to addressing those things, but we have good people in the Department of Corrections trying to do good work, and we gotta highlight them. Anything else? We have a lot of different recognitions that we do. If you want to nominate someone, maybe UPAN can do a corrections employee of the month. That would be awesome if you all want to consider that. That's great to hear.
I mean, I used to come out and just dread to be in a visit, because it was very, let's sit and now they'll laugh with you, they'll joke with you.
Good.
You're human to them, where before you felt like, God, they're overlooking, that you're a dog, and you think it's a lot different than it used to be.
Good. Well, we're all in this
And
together.
we appreciate, as a family members, we appreciate that. I mean, we know you got to do your little dog things and your SWAT things. As a family, I don't care. I mean, because I know I'm not doing nothing wrong,
Right.
so it doesn't bother me. The only thing that bothers us is when you're looked down on as a, and that's when it becomes an issue. But when they joke with you and they smile, and it makes it less.
Values that we put up on the board, that is how we're going to do business. And we tell the staff all the time, and especially the new cadets, these are the values of the department, and you need to display these values in your life and in your work, because if they don't align, it makes it really hard. But respect is one of those, and we should respect one another, and we should show respect through toward one another. And so thank you for the feedback, and we want to continue to be respectful, and we're all in together. We all have challenges. Everyone's got things they're dealing with. So anything else?
Mural everywhere, and it's so uplifting.
We've had some other requests. I mean, we have a new facility. I think that might be a tough one for the inside customization of cells, but you know, but if we can find ways for them to.
The halls would be good.
Yeah. We've had some requests. We haven't closed the door on something like that. It is a new prison. I think we'd have to talk to the state's facilities and things. Thank you. Can you talk about that real quick?
Center. He was part of the Solid program, very artistic, and he came up with an idea of an uplifting mural to paint on the entire gym wall, and it actually turned out really nice and was a good experience for the residents there, and also a good experience for him as well.
There you go. So, you know, we've cracked the door. All right. And staff, actually, when they worked together in Fortitude. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Good idea. Yeah. Great idea. Anything else? Ann?
I'm just going to say thank you to you and your staff. The transparency, the change of ethos has been just phenomenal and touching and wonderful. And you are appreciated, all
Thank
of you.
you.
So
No.
thank you so much.
Thank you. And, you know, thanks for making the drive out here. You know, we open this up to anybody, and you're here. So thanks. You know, that would have been great to have the room, you know, even more full, but that's okay. Like, you're all important, and we really appreciate the feedback, and we've taken some notes tonight. Yeah, the holidays are tough.
Holidays and rush hour traffic.
You know, great. It's all great feedback. We'll definitely do this at least annually. So at least, but yeah, thanks. No, thanks for the feedback. That's helpful. So we'll try to, but you know, anyone's welcome, you know, thanks to our media partners for coming tonight and being here as well. So, well, I think with that, we'll conclude. We'll be around here for a minute after. And if you have additional questions or want to share anything that you didn't want to share out loud, that's fine too. So thanks, everyone.